What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic, and today we're going to talk some football. Houston Texans football. We are here. We are less than a week away from the Houston Texans kicking off the season versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Houston Texans have named their final 53-man roster. Now, I want to break this down. I want to talk about what this means about the roster being set. DeShaun Watson still on the roster, and also the Houston Texans, David Culley, has named a starting quarterback for the week one, and it's going to be Tyrod Taylor, to no surprise of anybody's. Unless people out there holding out hope that DeShaun Watson was going to be the starter. So let's talk about it. Let's break it down, because I think this means something going forward. Like I said, the elephant in the room, DeShaun Watson still on the contract. He's still on the team. You hear all the reports going forward. Oh, he's going to be traded by June 1st. June 1st came and went. He's still a Texan. Oh, he's going to get traded by training camp. Training camp started him first. Oh, he's going to be traded before they have to cut down to the 53-man roster. And is now what he's going to be traded by the trade deadline. I'm under the mindset. I've said this the day after the day that the first round ended, that DeShaun Watson was going to be a Houston Texan up until the next offseason. The moment that the first round came and went, I knew the Texans weren't going to make a trade for DeShaun Watson. I knew no one was going to make a trade. If you're going to make a trade, you're going to trade before the draft. That way you can draft a quarterback or whatever it is you're going to do with those draft assets. Now teams are going to be waiting and seeing. I've been saying this for the longest. Teams are going to wait and see exactly what's going to go on. Not really with the legal process. I think it's more so to do with the NFL suspension. And the NFL is not going to suspend DeShaun Watson just yet. And I think the moment that you get clarity on that, when if the exempt list, or he gets a 10, 8, 6-game suspension, whenever, full year, whatever, then that's when I think that teams are going to make actual legitimate moves. Now, I know there was a report about DeShaun Watson denying the trade to the Eagles. We're going to talk about that in a minute, because that kind of piggybacks off of to what I think about this roster. Really, the only main thing about the 53-man roster that I want to talk about is Scottie Phillips. That was the guy that I want the most to stay on the team, and he did. Now, because of that, you kept 5 running backs in Mark Ingram, David Johnson, Philip Lindsay, and Rex Burkhead. And I think they've even said, Culley even said himself, that Scottie Phillips played his way onto this team. I believe they were going to cut Scottie Phillips and try to put him on the practice squad, because Scottie Phillips played so well in the preseason that he wasn't going to make the practice squad. Some other team somewhere else was going to pick up Scottie Phillips, so they had to keep Scottie Phillips on the actual 53-man roster to do that. And because of that, you suffered at the receiver position, because you cut Kiki. And I know how y'all say, oh, I'm a Texas Tech fan. It's more than that. Is that now you only have 3 legitimate receivers as of right now. You have Brandon Cooks, you have Chris Cooley, and then you have Nico Collins. Now, I know we trade for Anthony Miller. I know Anthony Miller's still on the roster, but yeah, he's dealing with the shoulder injury. I know he came back to practice today, so we're going to see exactly if he's going to be able to play the whole season, or if he's going to be ready for week one. So as of right now, until you get more clarity, just because he showed up to practice doesn't mean anything. As of right now, you will go into Sunday's game with only 3 receivers, because that was the whole thing. All the Texans are going to trade for a receiver. All the Texans are going to sign a receiver off waiver, whatever, and they didn't. They have not. They're waiting on Anthony Miller, and I think that means something going forward. I think the Texans going forward are going to get a receiver either directly or indirectly with the DeShaun Watson trade. And what I mean by that is directly, wherever team you trade him to, you're going to get a receiver back. Like if you trade him to Denver, you're going to get back a Jerry Jeudy, you're going to get back a Cortland Sutton, something like that. You trade him to Miami, you're going to get back a Devontae Parker, a Waddle. It would be the Texans' luck, and not even the Texans' luck. It would just be so Texan that they trade him to the Dolphins and get back Will Fuller, a guy who you could have franchise tag if you really want to keep him, but you end up getting him back in the DeShaun Watson trade. That's just so Houston Texans. And if it was the Eagles, somebody like Devontae Smith. Now, I know the report is that DeShaun Watson kind of nixed the trade to the Eagles. If that report is true, I'm going to talk about this right now. If that report is true, this is bad business on DeShaun Watson. Like, we're going to just talk about it. We're going to call it is what it is. If you really want out, like the way you say you want out, you'll take any trade. You just want to get the fuck up out of Houston. If that's the truth, if you really just want to get the fuck up out of Houston, you'll do that. You'll just get the fuck up out of Houston. Oh yeah, hey, I'll go to the Eagles. I'll go to the Broncos. I'll go to here. But it seems because he does have the no trade clause again, he can control where he wants to go. And that's the leverage I've been saying that DeShaun Watson had from the jump. I said both sides have leverage. The Texans don't have to trade him, for one. And two, DeShaun Watson can control where he goes. You can't just trade him anywhere. He gets to control where he goes. And because of that, because he can control where he goes, he will. I think he might want to try to force his way strictly to Miami. I'm only going to Miami. I'm only going to the Dolphins, and that's my main concern when it comes to Deshaun Watson, that he's going to try to force his way only to Miami. And my thing is, bruh, hey, if you really want out, you should just be getting out. You should just be getting out. You should just be getting out. That's the only thing he can do. And I can see the Texans playing hardball, playing hardball with him as well. Okay, fine. Because the Texans have the way, okay, you showed up. You ain't getting fined because you showed up. Now you got to play. Like, you got to suit out and play. And force him to dress up. And if he doesn't dress up, then they can start finding him that way and suspend. They could do team suspensions and things like that because it'd be not misconduct. Basically, I'm gonna just use a regular word term and be insubordination. Like, I don't know if that's what the NFL calls it, but it's just in a regular word term, it'll be insubordination. You're not doing what your boss tells you to do. Your boss tells you to do a job, and you say, no, I'm not doing that. It'd be technically insubordination. That's something that's the avenue the Texans can go to. And I said this back in February. They can get real bad and real ugly if both sides wanted to get. And like, that's a way that both sides can make this back real ugly, is the Texans forcing him and him forcing the way to sit out. But I don't think it's going to get to that, because I do think the Texans will end up moving him. I just don't think the Texans will end up moving him this year, because I don't think the trade offers are going to be coming in like that until there's more clarity on the actual suspension process. Now, like I said, I think the Texans, like I said, will be getting either directly or indirectly. So like I said, they will be getting either back a Jerry Jeudy, if it's, say, like I said, Denver, a Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. Miami, it would be a Waddle or Devontae Parker. And if it was a Philly trade, which the trade I like the most, because I think Philly has the most assets, and you also get him out the conference, it would be a Devontae Smith. Or whatever draft capital you get back for Deshaun Watson, you use that on drafting a receiver. Like, so say for instance, if you get, cause the asking price is what, if the report is true, the asking price for Deshaun Watson was what, 3 1s and 2 2s, so 5 picks altogether. So then you'll get your own first round picks. So that means you'll have in one draft, possibly depending on where those first round picks fall. Like I said, if it's a team that has multiple first round picks, like I know the Giants are going to have multiple first round picks, the Eagles are going to have multiple first round picks, things like that. That you can have 3 first round picks in 1 year, or you have 3 straight years of 2 first round picks and 2 straight years of 2 second round picks. You'll be able to get a franchise receiver and quarterback in that type of span, in that type of drafting. So I think that's what the plan is. And I actually have to give Casario a little bit more credit, because another report is that he doesn't want Tua and he doesn't want Jalen Hurts. And if those reports are true, if those reports really are true that he doesn't want Jalen Hurts or Tua, I think he's kind of set on the mindset of how I feel about both. Because I'm not really high on either one. I think you could possibly win with both of them. I think you can win with them. But there's a difference between winning with a quarterback and winning because of a quarterback. And Deshaun Watson, obviously Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, as it looks like right now, possibly Josh Allen, potentially Lamar Jackson. Those are guys that you win because of. You only win because of them. Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, obviously. You only win because of. Now, guys like Trent Dilfer, Brad Johnson, to a degree, Joe Flacco. Those guys, you won because. You get to Super Bowl because, Jimmy Garoppolo made it to the Super Bowl. You didn't make it to the Super Bowl because of Jimmy Garoppolo, but you was able to make it to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, but you didn't make it there because of Jimmy Garoppolo. You get what I'm saying? See the difference? Matt Schaub. We could have made it to the Super Bowl with Matt Schaub, but we wouldn't have won the Super Bowl because of Matt Schaub. It would be mostly because of the defense. Andre Johnson, Arian Foster, things of that nature. When we started off 11-1, we weren't 11-1 because of Matt Schaub. We were 11-1 because of Dre. Arian Foster led the league in touchdowns, and J.J. Watt's defensive player of the year. That's the reason why you start off 11-1 in 2012, not because of Matt Schaub. Those type of things. So everything. Quarterback, the offensive line, running back, receivers, defense, and not to mention the opponents you play against. Everything has to break right for you to win with certain quarterbacks. Win with other quarterbacks, if something happens, something falls short somewhere else, you still have a shot because you're winning. Because as long as that guy's on the field, you're going to win because of. And I think that's the type of quarterback that Nick Caserio wants. And I think he doesn't want to get false hope with both either Jalen Hurts or Tua, because both of those guys could be kind of like Blake Bortles. You get to the AFC Championship with those guys, and you get fooled, and you give them a big contract. Same thing with Joe Flacco. He even won Super Bowl, won MVP. And you give them a big contract, and they really not deserving of it. They really not deserving of it. Or a guy who you win with a couple times, you make it the playoffs here and there, but 4 or 5 years down the line, you realize he's really not the guy, and you just wasted 4 or 5 years of your team success because you've been pussyfooting with this average quarterback. I don't think he wants to get himself put in that situation. Now, I could be wrong. He could just be completely sold that he believes in Davis Mills. That could be his complete mindset. And if that's the case, I think he's misguided on that, because I feel the same way about Davis Mills. But I choose to believe, because that's my belief when it comes to both Tua and Hurts. I think that Hurts has a little bit more natural talent, and I believe, and I think Hurts in this situation actually probably would be all right, especially with him being from Houston. I think it'll add a little bit extra juice to the whole situation, to the dynamic. But I believe that neither one of those guys are going to be a guy you win because. You need to find a guy you win because. Now, I'm going to do a video talking about quarterbacks pretty soon. I ain't going to lie. From what I've seen this past week in college football, I know it's just opening day. It kind of put a damper on a lot of prospects, in my opinion. But it was only week 1 of college football. I don't want to jump to the gun and jump too hasty. So I'm still going to drop a quarterback list. I know a lot of y'all been waiting on that. I'm still going to drop a quarterback list and about my actual opinion about each quarterback. But FYI, it wasn't that impressive week 1. Week 1 wasn't that impressive. But and who knows that Nick Caserio could be looking there and be like, damn, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And now the whole thing with David Culley naming Tyrod Taylor the starter. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I want Davis Mills to start. I'm not joking. I'm being serious. I wanted Davis Mills to start. I know people be in my comments talking about I'd be crushing Davis Mills. Yes, because I believe he doesn't need to be crushed. And I didn't do a video on the last 2 preseason games because his first the second preseason game, he played decent. He played better. It was the best game of the 3. But remember, the Texans still were 0-10 on first down conversions. It wasn't good. And then the last one, everybody wants to hype up because he threw 2 touchdowns, but he had 5 turnovers, 4 turnovers. He threw 3 picks and fumbled the ball. He turned the ball over 4 times. Yeah, he threw 2 touchdowns, but he turned the ball over 4 times. That's not good. It's not. It's really not. He had some decent throws. The touchdown to Nico was good, and the second touchdown when he kind of slid out the pocket and kind of sided on through it, that was that was probably his best throw of the preseason. And it was some other throws he made throughout the game too that were decent throws. But I think he was under 50% for the whole preseason. Had horrible quarterback rating, and they had more turnovers than touchdowns. Only had 2 touchdowns. We had 5 picks, 4 to 5 picks, and some fumbles. Like, it's not good. But I want him to play for 2 reasons. One, I don't want us to, he plays the last 3 games of the regular season, and now we sold on him, and we're gonna build the fifth. No, give him the full slate. Give him the full year. Let him play so he see exactly so he can go through his ups and downs. He's gonna have ups and he's gonna have downs, and you see exactly what he is. And then two, because I don't believe he's good, and I think we'll end up having the first pick. That's really the main thing. I just think that he'll play bad, and the Texans will end up having the first pick in the draft. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. I think he'll end up playing bad. The Texans will be the worst team in football, and the Texans have the first pick in the draft. You trade DeShaun Watson, you get even more draft capital, and if you're lucky, you might have at the very least two first round picks in the top 10, if not two first round picks in the top 5. It depends on who you trade them to. So because and I really want the Eagles trade because the Eagles have 3 first round picks. If Carson Wentz plays 75% of the snaps, I know at first it was like, oh, Carson Wentz ain't playing, but then now he came back to practice, so who knows? If Carson Wentz plays 75% of the snaps, the Eagles have 3 first round picks. Now, do I think the Eagles are going to give up all 3 first round picks? No. But I do think if the Eagles have 3 first round picks, they're more inclined to give you 2 of their first round picks than give you a future first round pick and give you some second round picks to get DeShaun Watson. And they can still keep Jalen Hurts. To be honest, they actually can still keep Jalen because they would need Jalen to play when DeShaun Watson is suspended whenever the time comes. So they still be all right. That's my trade. That's my trade. And also throw in Devontae Smith. So you have another receiver in the mix. Because Brandon Cooks was going to be on this last year's deal anyway. Chris Conley hasn't really done anything in the NFL. And I mean, he's played with Patrick Mahomes. And I know they had Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins and other things, but they really haven't done anything. And Nico is a rookie. And I like Nico, but I don't know if I like him with this quarterback situation. So I think you're going to need to get some other type of receiver. Obviously, you're going to have to get some other type of receiver talent. I like Anthony Miller. I think he's going to be a good slot receiver. I think he's going to be fine. But then again, you need somebody to be pulling the trigger. So I do believe, like I said, I think the Texans are going to be going after going after a receiver either with the Deshaun Watson trade or via the draft. And I do think they're also going to run. And also, I think Nick Caserio also sits back and looks, you know what, I'm going to use. That's another reason why I'm going to use all these running backs. I kept 5 running backs on the roster. I'm going to run the football a lot. We're not going to throw the football. We have Tyrod Taylor and Davis Mills as our quarterbacks. We're not throwing the football a lot. We're going to run a lot. We're not going to throw. We're going to run. And I'm gonna need all these running backs because running backs get hurt easily. I'm gonna just run the football with Mark Ingram, David Johnson, and Philip Lindsay, and work Sky Phillips in. I want to see Scott because, like I said, Sky Phillips really impressed me. I used to say this last year when Sky Phillips would get in. He'll have a little couple sporadic runs here and there. I used to beat me up, Scotty. Like he used to have some runs here and there, but we didn't get a full fledged of Sky Phillips last year. And then this past year, during this preseason, I want to see him more with the ones. That was my only gripe about the preseason is that you didn't play Scotty with the ones. You didn't give him the first offensive line. You didn't get. I want to see him go up against the ones, not just go up against the 2s and the 3s. I want to see him up against the ones. So hopefully I get to see Sky Phillips play this season. Like I said, I'm glad that he made the roster. That's really my only person who I really want to make the roster. Yeah, I want Kiki to stay on the roster, and we're gonna see him in Indy now. And it's not even it's a Texas Tech thing, but also you just need receiving help. But because of that, now you're going to, like I said, you're going to have to try to make a play for a receiver versus either via the trade or drafting, either or. So look at the receiver talent. Look at the receivers talent in the draft, or look at these other teams. All these teams are in the rumors for Deshaun Watson. Look to see what type of receivers they have and see who you can get back in the trade. So Houston Texans, like I said, they face off against Jacksonville. I actually think the Texans are going to win. I actually believe the Texans are going to win. I think this is going to be one of the few wins. Even with Tyrod Taylor, I think the Texans is probably going to go 3-14. I think the Texans are going to go 3-14, 4-12. I think they ceiling is 5-11. I mean, yeah, not 4. I said, yeah, it's 3-14, 4-13. Yeah, 5-11. That's I said it right. 5-12. That's because it's 17 games. I'm tripping. 17 games. Yeah, 5-12. I think is their ceiling. Yeah, I think they say ceiling. I think they forward on 117, but 1-16. But they ceiling I think is only with Tyrod Taylor. It's only 5 wins, so it's a 5-win team at the most. But I think they're gonna win 3. I think they're gonna be 3-14. That's pretty much what I think they're gonna be at. So like, subscribe if you haven't, comment below if you haven't, click that bell, get more videos. Holla.